Hey there, Station One listeners, and welcome to another episode. We got a really special one for you. We have the return of Larry Hankin is here today. Hi, Larry.
How you doing? How you
Good to
doing,
have you
Mike? How
back.
you doing, Michael? Mike and Michael. Okay, cool.
It is good to have you, and it's been a while, about a little over a year since we spoke with you last. And
About fucking time.
yeah, I know. We love you though, dude, and we're
I
so
don't know.
happy to
Are
have you
people
back.
called your people? It takes these things take time.
They said they'd do
Oh
lunch
no, if
together,
you
and they
do
never
it
got
too,
back to us.
if you do it too soon after the first time, then people get tired. And well, I saw him last week. We don't have to watch, but now a year later, when the tension is at its highest,
There
boom.
you go. Boom.
How have you been, Larry? Good to see you.
Well, in the year, it's been a weird year. It really has. I don't know what's coming up next or what. I'm writing this book and trying to keep busy, and I stopped acting for a while, and so yeah, it's just a hit and miss every day. I got to make up a day. Yeah, it's the hardest thing is being well, I'm not out of work. I just stopped working for a while. I thought, well, I need a rest. I need to just but when you stop working, then what the heck do you do, man? It
Mhm.
takes a little while to first you're lost and then you start very slowly building another life. Then when I get this life full, I'm gonna have to go back and do the old life I left a year ago. It's weird. It's very weird.
Are you
But
It's
I'm,
getting
I'm
the
coping. I'm coping. I'm coping. I'll
yeah.
get through it. I'll get through it.
Are you getting
The
the
last
acting
time
bug back?
Excuse me? What,
Are you
which one?
getting the acting bug a little bit again?
Yeah, I got this friend of mine called me from Wisconsin, and he said he's got a movie that he's writing and he wants me to be in it. And I said, okay, so that's going to be during the summer, but it's a friend, see, and it's
gotcha.
a cool little part. I don't have to bother. Can just it's cool. So yeah, I'll get back. And then the book that I wrote has in it, I made it it's a story of my show business life, and it's a cautionary tale. It's about it's not all the great things. It's the screw ups and how things go weird or wrong, or you
Mhm.
end up landing on your feet when you are about to fall off a building, all that stuff. So it's not the upside; it's the weird side, the screwy, funny side. That I could do on stage. The book, because it's taken from my real life. I can just talk
All
about
right.
it.
So like
So,
a one-man show kind of thing?
one man show, yeah. So yeah, I do have the acting bug. It's just I gotta rearrange it and not work for other people, but just do it on my own. That's how I'm gonna come back in. He said
After
gallantly.
after all your time and experience, I think 7 decades of working,
Yeah.
um, does it do you even have to audition anymore?
Well, sometimes no. It depends on the tent poliness of the movie. If it's, huge movie with a big budget and a big star, then probably yeah, because then everybody, even a co-star would have to kind of audition or come in for a talk. You come in for a talk.
Mhm.
Uh so yeah, but if it's a small one or something on television, I can make a demand. I don't want to audition. You either hire me or not. All my work is like the audition. And
Yeah.
that's what
I
that's
would
what
assume
John.
they
Go ahead. You were assuming
No,
what?
I was gonna say I assume they know who they're getting when they get Larry Hankin,
Well,
right?
no, they don't.
Ah,
That's the one thing. Because if you read the book, oh, there's a commercial right there.
there you
If
go.
you read the book, you see that because I write about sometimes there are unexpected things. I didn't audition, and I come in, and I have a way of doing it my way, and this this director who hired me, he's the stranger. He doesn't know. Well, there's many times when they say, we didn't know what the fuck you were doing, Larry, so we left you alone. I get that a lot, where they go, well, why didn't you give me any direction? Were you mad at me or something? No, no, we didn't write it that way. I mean, this is like literally verbatim. No, we didn't write it that way, but we didn't know what you were doing, so we just kept our hands off. We left you alone. We didn't know what you would. So it's kind of nice. That is a compliment, yes. But it's not a compliment while I'm doing it. You feel lost. You feel, why isn't he talking to me? Why is he giving everybody else direction and not me? I mean, one time I did it's in the book. I won't tell you the story, but I did a Hell's Angel. I acted the character of a Hell's Angel, and the director never came near me, man. All he would say was, well, stand over there. And a year later, this was in the beginning when I was too shy to ask a director, why didn't you talk to me? I just left, when I did my job, I went home. But a year later, when I had little chops behind me, and I met him at a party, and I asked him, I said, well, why didn't you talk to me when I was doing the Hell's Angel? He said, I thought they hired a Hell's Angel, and I wasn't going to give you any direction. I didn't want to fight. So I just avoided you at all costs. I mean,
Look,
this guy, yeah. I mean,
you were
go figure.
convincing.
Well, I mean, again, it's a compliment, but while you're going through it, it's not a compliment. It's confusing. It's, why isn't he talking to me? Well, is he mad at me? Am I doing something wrong? What's going on? Because the people who you audition for are not the people you work for.
Right, right.
So you just show up and they don't know what the hell you did for the audition. And that's what I come in to do, is what I did that got me the job. And they go, no, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? That was another thing I got, Hey, he said, look, I was at the audition. This is what the director told me. This isn't in the book. He comes up to me. I'm sitting outside, I auditioned. Now I'm going in for a second callback with a final audition. So I go to the final audition, and there's the director. He was there for the first audition, so he knew what I did. And he comes out to where the waiting room is, where all the actors are waiting to go into the room. He comes out, he says, Larry, I want to talk to you. Okay, this is a good sign. So he says, look, when you go in, I was there at the audition, and bring it down. Bring it down. No, he says, bring it up. You were too small, too subtle. Bring it up for this audition, a little over the top. It's okay. And then when we do the movie, I'll bring you down again. Okay. But, just so you can go that. I thought, screw you. Yeah, I mean, don't come in and it's bullshit. I don't do over the top. I don't do up. I do under. That's what I do. You were there for the audition. That's why you're telling me to bring it up. I don't do that. So when I went in, I just did it my way. Now, I didn't get the part, and I was fine with it. See, that's the difference. I was fine with it. I did what I could do best. And what he wanted me to do, was not my thing. So
Yeah.
in other words, I'll own what I do. I'll own it. I totally. So I have to do it my way. Now I miss a lot of jobs, but I get really cool jobs too.
You have had a lot of really cool jobs.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yes.
I mean, last time you were here, and that's episode 540 for those people who want to look it up. Last time you were here, we talked mainly, I think, focused on your film career. But man, your television career, I didn't even, starting at the beginning in the 60s, was that a goal of yours to be on television?
I never, to this day, to this conversation, ever wanted to be an actor.
Really?
Ever.
Wow.
Furthest thing from my mind.
Because I know you started with the improv stuff.
That came later. That was once I committed. I went to college to be an industrial designer. I'm an artist. That's my paintings up there.
Sure.
So I went to industrial design. I was an A student. And when I graduated on the day of graduation from Syracuse University Industrial Design Department, I said, no, never mind. This is not where I'm going. I went to college because my parents wanted me to go to college for a career as an industrial designer because I could draw a lot. But I told them, I said, don't come up to graduation. I'm not going. You know, they're going to drive
Wow.
up from Long Island. Oh yeah, man. I've lived my life the way I've wanted to.
You have.
All the way. Yeah. No, I can brag about that, but you know, there's dues to pay. You just can't live your life the way you want to and think you're going to get away with it. You
Did you
know,
do
there's
any
dues to
acting
pay.
classes in college and everything? Or
Nothing, ever, ever, ever.
how
I
did you get?
graduated college and I said to my friend, Carl Gottlieb, who wrote Jaws and all those other
Yep.
movies,
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
he was my best friend in Syracuse. We hung out together. So on my graduation day, you know, and I said, "Hey, Carl, what are you going to do when you graduate? We graduated at the same time. What are you going to do? You know, where are you going now?" He says, "I'm going to Greenwich Village. I'm going to be a writer." He wanted to be a writer right from the get-go all his life. So he said, "I'm going to Greenwich Village." And I said, "How would you like a roommate?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure. Great. Let's get a roommate thing going." Okay. So he went to Greenwich Village and I just followed him. You know, I went home from Syracuse. I went home and I got in a big barroom brawl, a knockdown fight. My shoulder was dislocated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was, I needed to go to the emergency ward. Uh, I got the worst of it, but I got even. So it worked out fine. But at the time I was beat up so bad that my parents drove up anyway, even though I told them, don't drive up. I'm not going to graduate. I meant I'm not going to go to the graduation
Sure, sure.
Right.
ceremony.
You still got your
But
diploma.
yeah, I don't know how I got it. They probably mailed it to them.
Mailed it or
I don't
something.
know, you know. So I didn't. I said, well, I didn't want my parents to see me because I was really black and blue, you know, and I couldn't use this arm. So I told them, I said, well, I'm not going. I'll meet you afterwards. And then afterwards, I mean, I was beat up. So I said, I'm going to get a ride home. You go home without me. Which, I mean, that's like a crazy thing to tell your parents. They didn't know what's going on. He won't even come to see us. We've driven all the way up, I don't know, it's 400 miles or something, I don't know, from Far Rockaway, Long Island, all the way up to Syracuse. And then I sent them home and I didn't even say, they never saw me because I didn't
Wow.
want them to see me. I was like, bad. So I went to Greenwich Village with Carl Gottlieb. And I bust bars after last call from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's what I gave up, going to Detroit for, you know, an amazing amount of money to be an industrial designer. And then I had nothing to do, so I would go to these coffee houses, these open mic nights, coffee house in Greenwich Village. We lived in Greenwich Village. So, you know, until 2 a.m., I could just see all these coffee shop things. That's where I hung out. And I thought, I can do that. I'm a funny guy. And that's how I got into show business. I got up on stage and I got laughs. So, okay, I'm a stand-up comedian now. Boom. And I was passing the hat and then I got booked. And then I was opening for Woody Allen. And that was
Mhm.
cool. And I started making money and I was in show business. Bing, bang. There you go. 6 months.
Was it a different transition from working on stage doing that to working in television?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's just one learning experience after another. I mean, I was getting tired of learning the new jargon and the new rules. You know, for stand-up comedy, and then the different clubs, you have to find your own clubs because I was opening for Woody because that was my manager. We both had the same manager, and his audience is not my audience. You know, my audience is Richie Pryor's audience, George Carl, you know, Bill
Right.
Burr, Joey Coy. So that was, you know, who I was going for, the college crowd. And Woody was middle class, white bread, you know, mayonnaise. And so I couldn't open for him anymore because I wasn't going over well. At first, that was fine because he was beginning, I was beginning. We both had the same audience. But as he gained purchase in his industry, becoming a stand-up comedian, doing television, and I had no television material. You know, I was cursing and I wasn't doing drugs, but I was talking about them a lot because I was surrounded by it. I was hanging around with all the musicians. And I just wasn't curious. It wasn't that I didn't want to do it. I just, no, go ahead and smoke it. So I was around it. Obviously, I was getting contact highs, but I didn't smoke any. But I was doing the humor, and you couldn't do that on television. So he started to rise, and I was still opening for him, and I could see that his audience and mine were just going. So you have to find your own audience, and that was a new learning experience, then another learning step in the comedy thing. And then finally I got to the Midwest touring, opening for, Ian and Sylvia and the Kingston Trio and just a lot of stars, nightclub stuff. But
sure.
you get to the Midwest and then the drug stuff stops again. Then then cops were pulling me off the stage. Then the Lenny Bruce stuff. And so I called my manager, Jack Rollins, Woody's manager. I said, look, man, I can't do this. This is no fun. Cops are pulling me off the stage. I just want to make people laugh. I don't know what the hell their issue is. I'm just talking street. I mean, Lenny talked street. He wasn't cursing on stage. He was talking like real people talk when they are not on stage. I mean, I saw him in person a lot. And I was copying him. I mean, I thought he was funny. The man was funny, man. He was a born storyteller. I mean, he could have made, Alley Oop and Una laugh. I mean, he could, yeah, he could.
Of course.
He could just stand around the campfire, and everybody else is putting handprints on the wall, and he's telling jokes around the fire. So I called and I said, look, I can't do this anymore. The cops are just getting in the way. So he said, well, join Second City. So then I got improv. Then I joined Second City or auditioned for that. So then I had to learn improv. So you have to go to school for 6 months. Second City, they teach you how to improvise. They don't just
Oh, yeah.
You have to learn.
I did that when I was in Los Angeles.
Excuse me?
I did that when I was in Los Angeles.
Who'd you work with?
I studied with a few different folks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I was right there over off of Melrose at their campus.
Yeah, right, Melrose.
I was there 2001.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. I'm talking about
a lot earlier. You were there a lot
70s,
earlier.
Yeah.
You were there in
70s or
Chicago,
80s.
which
No,
is amazing.
70s or 80s.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was really hard making the improv. And then when I got to the comedian, we opened an improv theater like Second City, because we were all from Second City. We opened a theater there. And then the Hollywood people, the television and movies started to fly up and watch us. So now I am going down there and learning movies, how to be a camera person and repeat it over and do takes and not in any order. There was that you can shoot it out of order. And it was just little small sections and I had to learn that. So it's just a constant dropping one life and starting another kind of ruled life. No, you don't do it that way, you do it this way.
Plus in film and TV, you're playing characters. You're not playing yourself, right? So
but in improv, you're playing characters, instant characters.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
In comedy, you're playing yourself. In stand-up, in improv, you're playing characters. And then in movies and television, you're playing characters with depth. There's a backstory. In improv, there's no backstory. Doctor, boom. Any doctor, boom, you're a doctor. But in movies, you have to be a particular doctor. So you have to do a little more homework. And then you have to learn lines. Improv, I didn't have to learn diddly squat. You come in, your day is your own. You walk, you can act in your street clothes. You don't matter. You just walk off. Hey, I'll be right back. I got to do a show for an hour and a half. Goodbye. Boom, on the stage, improv. You make it all up. You do it again the next night. You remember what you did the last night. How or why, I don't know. It's a mystery, but it's there. And for
Did you-
everybody. I mean, it's not
did-
just me. It's if you go to improv school, you can do it the same the next night and you don't have to remember. It's weird. There's part of your brain that's just for improv acting.
Did you end
tap
up
into it.
did you end up building up any characters when you were in improv and such?
Well, just one. I had a Murray Burns who was like a universal character, and it was my uncle, really, you know. And he was a New Yorker, you know, so he could say dems and does and ain't, and you know. So he was Murray Burns was my universal character. If I didn't know what I was doing, the doctor would have mysteriously a New York accent. So yeah, so I did that, and then you go down to Hollywood, and no, now you have to have depth. You can't just, you know, just pick out a character and just do it. You know, because other characters, other actors who don't know about improv, or maybe they do, but it's different. Improv and acting is different than improv and improving. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
One is you go for a different. The intent is different, I guess. Intent is a big word now, so I use it as much as I can.
It's
We'll
the
make a
hot
note
word
of
of
that.
the day. It's the hot word of the day.
We'll make sure we hashtag that.
So yeah, so I mean, and then finally I just gave up with the backstory and the memorization. You know, I'm dyslexic, so it got harder and harder for me to memorize lines because the parts got bigger and bigger. You know, it gets harder and harder. So I thought writing, cool. I'll be a writer. And then I can go back on the stage and be a stand-up comedian again. So full circle.
The like I said, the your television career is so huge. Like I said, 7 decades. Is there any in particular shows or crews that you worked with that you feel is special or stand out for you?
Well, the one that I wanted to do, and the only time I ever wanted to do a part, you know, oh, I got to get that part, was to do Tom Pepper, you know, to do Kramer, because he was such an icon at the time.
Oh, right.
And I thought, wow, man, if I could pull that off, I want to see if I could pull it off. I mean, it was just a dare. That was all. I mean, it had nothing to do with salary or show, or I just wanted to do an icon and see if I could pull it off and not have people boo me off the stage or
Well, sure.
punch me when they saw me on the street. You didn't do Kramer right. Boom. That happens. If you don't do it right, fans get feisty, you know.
At
So
least
I
you
did that. That was
weren't
the one that I loved doing because the most proud I am of what I did. That's one because I wanted to copy. I wanted to get him down. I wanted to be able to do it and have the fans know that I was doing Kramer. And that's what I did, and that's what happened. And the fans all, oh man, you did a great Kramer. Oh, thank you. That's what I wanted to do. But the one that is secret, nobody knows about it, is in what was it? Star Chamber. I don't know if you know the movie with
Yeah.
what's his name?
Sure.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So Star Chamber, I played an undercover cop. So I played a street cop, and Michael Douglas even complimented me on my acting on that one. But I just played a street cop, and I don't know, when I watched the movie, I thought, wow, man, I nailed that guy so perfectly. I mean, I was doing what I wanted to do, and I had a little backstory for it. And you know, I'm not an actor. I never wanted to be an actor. I just do it out of instinct. I've never studied acting. Improv was the only acting I had. But I want to really do a good job, you know. I mean, I guess I always do. I just wanted, but him, I don't know. I had a liking for that character. I just had an attachment. And when I watched the movie, I thought, man, okay, I complimented me. I said, Larry, okay, you did good. You know, you focused and hit all the points, and great. And the lines were real. When I said something, I believed it wasn't me, it was that guy. So that's the, but nobody ever talks about it. It's an obscure movie and not many people have seen it. But that's the best I can do. So those would be the two standout. Now, the best job I've ever done in total is in Escape from Alcatraz.
Right.
Right.
just
Yeah, we talked about that last time
time.
you were here. Yeah.
That's just an arc of a character that's just beautiful. But
Mhm.
I had nothing to do with that. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought the best I could do here, because that was the first big movie I've ever done. And it was with
Mhm.
Clint Eastwood and Don Siegel. I mean, they were two stars. I just held them in awe. So I had to get that out of my system, the awness. I had to just focus on that character. And that character was such a dweeb, a nerd. He just didn't want to be anybody's girlfriend in prison. That was my backstory. That was what I had in mind. And that's how the character was written. I didn't know it. I mean, I just
Mhm.
assumed it from the writing. So I didn't. So I thought, well, I hold Don Siegel and Clint Eastwood in such awe because they're such big stars. Let me use that. So I hung around, I followed Clint Eastwood around the entire 3 months. Wherever he went, I would just, not on camera, I just would follow him around. Just to hang out with him, just to see how other people related to him, the honest.
Mhm.
The other extras would sit around and ask him questions. He ate with the extras.
Oh
Clint
wow.
did. Yeah, he only ate with that. So I always sat at Clint's table with the other extras and heard their talk, just because my idea for Charlie Butts was he didn't want to be anybody's girlfriend, and this was the guy who was going to protect me. So I that was the awe thing. Clint Eastwood,
Right.
his character. So I kept that, and it worked. It just worked. But I didn't know if I was doing a good job or not. I didn't, I wasn't much into acting. I was just trying to not drown. I was trying to not drown. I mean, I was
Mhm.
surrounded by actors. I
Yeah.
mean, the warden. He was a big time actor too. He had his own
Mhm.
series at the time or right before that. So yeah, so I just and Don Siegel would put me on all the time. I mean, he liked me. He saw that I was totally naive. I didn't know what was going on. I mean,
Sure,
this is like
sure.
the first. So he liked me, and he put me in the movie more and more because I would always show up. In the 3 months, I only think I missed maybe 5 days of the 3 months of not showing up. Even when I didn't have to work, I would show
Mhm.
up in costume and just hang around. I just wanted to see what movies were made. I just wanted to hang around with Clint. I wanted to hang around with Don Siegel. I wanted to watch. I just wanted to be there. And anyway, the committee was in San Francisco. They were still on, and I was acting in a big time movie on Alcatraz in the Bay.
Right.
So, I graduated to offshore. I had made the big time. Gone all the way down to Hollywood, got a job, came back on Alcatraz Island while the committee was still working, with other people. And
Mhm.
yeah. So those are the top three, I guess, of just
It
jobs.
seems like most of your shows and appearances are like one and dones. But it looks like you actually on Friends you had a recurring character over and over again. That looks like that was the first time that happened. I could be wrong about that, but was that a
Right, yeah,
different
yeah.
thing? Was that a
That
different
was
thing? Like,
totally
oh, I gotta
different
put
because I mean, though that's the most popular character I've ever done. I mean, hands down. That
Mhm.
everybody, Mr. Heckles. Uh, but I didn't know that at the time. I didn't, I just wanted to, it was a good part. It was well written, and I was just doing, and Friends was huge.
Yeah.
I was there before they went on. I was there 5 times. and it was once a year for 4 years, and then I did the
Mhm.
4th year I did 2. But I did, the first year, second year, 3rd year, 4th and 5th year. So fourth year. So I had done 3, I had done 4, and if you do 6, you're a regular, or you're a recurring, and
Gotcha.
that you get a huge boost in salary. So I did 5. I figured, they're going to do 6, and I would be famous and rich. And then I had a heart attack because
Oh
Chandler
no.
needed an apartment. They had written
Oh,
Chandler
right.
out.
Right.
They had written Chandler out, not thinking, well, he's a regular. How do you write out a regular? But they didn't even think about it. They just wrote him out in one episode. And then Mr. Heckles came on and they gave him the apartment across from the Friends apartment. So they gave me a heart attack so that, oh my God, we got to get Chandler back on the show. Heckles gets a heart attack. Move Chandler in there. He's right across the hall. He can come in every week. Okay, done and done. So I was really pissed.
I'm
Really
sure.
pissed.
One episode
one
away.
show
One
away.
more
episode
show.
away.
You couldn't give me one more show.
Which
So,
are you more
I
recognized
just.
for? Larry, which one are you more recognized for, Seinfeld or for Friends? Do people like on the street?
Friends easily, but Seinfeld is the next, and then Breaking Bad.
Right.
Seinfeld
Right.
is Seinfeld and Breaking Bad is my audience. Friends is another audience I don't know anything about. They're daughters and moms for Friends who come up to me. No man has ever come up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Heckles." Never happened. No woman has ever come up to me and say, "Hey, Kramer, Breaking Bad." No woman has ever said that to me. So it's 2 different audiences.
Different
And I
camps,
brought
right?
them together. So when I sell the book, I'm trying to sell it 2 completely different, mindsets. It's really weird.
Let me ask you about the book. How do you ever decide? Like I said, your career is so extensive, your experience is so huge. Like, how did you decide? Like, why is the book, like, the book must be like 1,000 pages? How did you narrow down focus on the book?
It's 274 pages.
See, that seems too short. That seems too short.
Wow, you want more? Wow, I got to write another book then. Yeah,
I
of course.
see. I see.
No,
So
no,
this is volume 1 of that guy.
We're your
Well,
built-in
maybe.
audience. What do you mean?
It's like,
This is perfect.
Bob Dylan, he wrote a biography, an autobiography. There's a difference between a memoir and a biography. A biography, you can be sued, and a memoir, you can't be sued. Memoir is a remembrance. So they can't sue you for remembering wrong. The only rule
Gotcha.
for a memoir is it has to be first person all the way through. You can't say,
Gotcha.
I heard about a guy. You can't say that. The guy can sue you. But if I say, I met a guy, he doesn't, no permission. It has to be first person all the way. What you saw, your memory of this reality. So he wrote an autobiography, Bob Dylan, and he said part 1. So now everybody's waiting for part 2, 3, or whatever. So he that's very cool, very clever, part 1. So yeah, this is part 1, but I never thought of it that way. No, the reason it's so short is it's a memoir, and it's only no research. It's what I remember, and
Gotcha.
I just get up on stage and talk about. Well, when I was on Friends, this happened, and that's what I recorded, and then that's what I wrote down. So it's all verbatim, my memory of what happened. So you can't write a long biography because there's too many things that you remember.
I don't remember. Like,
well,
yeah,
no,
I feel like the
for.
longer I go, like it's gonna go from like a 500-page book.
Oh,
to
I see. Yeah.
A pamphlet,
you're right.
right?
So I only remembered. And one can only remember that which affects you in some emotional way. You don't remember every goddamn thing in your entire life that you ever did. I mean, if you go to a psychiatrist, maybe he can bring that stuff up, but it's not, you're not in touch with it. But the stuff you are in touch with is stuff that happened where some emotional connection was made. I met my wife there, or something like that, or I nearly died because of. And then you remember that. So that's why it's so short. It's memories that, something happened and I remembered, and you just get it down, and it's just concise. Because when you tell a story, you got to concise it.
Right,
What do you
right.
call it?
Did you have an editor help you with that too, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't have done it without an editor. In other words, he would say, well, you don't need this. Or what he would do is, I recorded it, all
Okay.
my memories, the entire, in sections, when I could.
Gotcha.
And then I would send it to a guy, and there's an app you can get on Microsoft, which will type it out. You feed the sound in. I mean, the digital is just amazing, and it types it out, man, on a page, just like you type it out. So I sent it to him. He had the app, his friend, and Doug Dietzhold, if anybody wants to know, he's great. Lives in the East Coast somewhere, and so I sent it to him. He would type out whatever I recorded, and then I would rewrite the recording, the typed out thing, because reading is different than listening.
Yep, absolutely.
So I would tighten it and adjust it and cross it. So we worked back and forth like that, and that's how I got the book. But that's why it's only 274 pages. But it's steely. It's tight. It's tight, man.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely just the right stuff, and no extra words. Thank you, Ernest Hemingway. No extra words. Just
no extra words.
Tight.
Are you doing an audio version as well?
Well, that's what I want to do. I told the publisher, which is a Bear Manor Media. I told him, I said, hey man, I want to do, because that's where the money is, the recordings. I'll tell you something you don't know, because I had to learn book stuff. That was another. Then when I got all the movie stuff, now I have to learn book jargon and galley prints and when we're going to drop it and all this stuff. So now I don't know. I had to learn all that jargon. So now when the book comes out, I did. There's a lag time of sometimes it takes a year for a book to come out. I mean, that's crazy.
Sure.
I could be dead in a year. I mean, that's crazy, but there's no way around it unless you get the right publishers. There's some publishers who will publish it when you want or around the time you want. But I think there's only two times: in the beginning of the year, the end of the year, or the end of the year. That's it. You either, if you get it in the beginning of the year, you can get it out in the next 3 to 4 months. But if you miss that beginning January, February opening, and you go March or the end of February, you got to wait until September, October before it comes out. I mean, it's crazy. So I told them, I said, no, I'm going to die by then. You can't, no, I won't do that. I know. So I pulled the book.
Oh,
they were going to do it by September. They were going to publish it in sometime in September. So I just said, no, give me the book back. I don't know. I mean, I'm perfectly healthy. Man. But I told them how old I was. So when you have gray hair, people, whoa, he's old. No, I'm just older. That's all. I'm just older.
Yes.
There's a big difference between old and older.
Yeah.
I told them I was, So I said, no, you can't. I don't have that long to live, I said. So, and they bought it. So, and then I went to another publisher and I said, look, when can you publish this? They said, well, by March. You got it. Let's do it.
Boom. So it's going to drop soon.
Yeah, in March, sometime in March, maybe the end of February. I don't know, but yeah. So I just got the galley. As we speak, I'm correcting the last final galley prints. So once I make the changes here, that's it. They put it to bed, and then they drop it.
They drop it. Well, we will definitely keep an eye out for it. Where should we go online to check the
Well,
status
it'll
of it? How would
probably
we
an
know?
Amazon or any bookstore in America, I
Okay.
guess, but Amazon, Can you play that thing? Can you play that 36 seconds?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
We'll edit it in
Oh,
here.
you can't do it now because you have to edit this. Okay, no,
Right.
never mind. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you were going to play it now. Okay, no, cool.
If we were
Never mind.
using our StreamYard, we'd be able to do it, but since we record on Zoom, it's a little
Well,
more
Zoom is
limited.
cool. Zoom is cool. I use
We love Zoom. They're our best friends.
We love
It's
Zoom.
good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, so and then I don't know what I'm going to do after the book. I mean, maybe go back on the stage and do the book as a one-man show. So it's a different. Not only is it different jobs, it's different lives, different things to learn, it's just different lives, different iterations. I mean, I don't just change a little; I change a whole lifestyle. It's amazing.
I'd love to go see you do your book live. That would be amazing to do. Are you?
It would.
Oh yeah. It
That'd be
would
awesome if you
because I was
came
pretty
with the
good.
tour.
I mean, I was a pretty good stand-up guy. I was opening for, well, like I say, Kingston Trio and Ian and Sylvia, and Dylan used to come to my shows. So
Wow.
I got to be good. If Dylan was coming, it's got to be good.
It's got to be good. There you go.
Come on, man. Come on. So yeah, a lot of people used to come to my shows. And it was something I loved doing because it was just storytelling. It was just me, just me telling my day or, what happened last week. So it was very uplifting for one. I've never had that feeling since then of being a stand-up comedian on a stage in front of, a couple hundred people or sometimes 2,000 people. I was opening for a lot of rock and roll shows. So, I would do arena shows.
Right.
Right. And I mean, it's so great. And those were even greater because it wasn't my responsibility. In other words, the Love and Spoonful would pack an arena, and I would just open for them. I just
right. You just show up.
Yeah, I would just show up, and they were my audience. A priori. Rock and roll. College students. I went on tour with them. I did the tour. So college. It was great. I had no responsibilities. I just do my 20 minutes, and then cops started pulling me off the stage because the deans didn't like what I was saying. I was smoking pot. But I mean, I wasn't, at that time, I wasn't doing drugs yet. I was a late bloomer. So when I did the college tour, I wasn't doing drugs, but I was doing pot humor, cursing and saying, shit and fucking stuff on stage. Conversationally, not in anger. Conversationally, not in anger. And so the cops were pulling me off the stage, and I called, Jack, and I said, I can't do this. It's not fun. I mean, cops are just ruining my high, man. And they're ruining the audience's high. What the hell? Cops? Why are they pulling him off the stage? I don't think the cops knew why they were pulling me off the stage, but the dean said, get him off the stage. He said, the appellation that they said, this was a verbatim quote. Filthy mouthed comedian. That was what I was named.
And that was going to almost be the name of your book?
No. That would have been a good name, filthy mouthed comedian. But then, a lot of people wouldn't buy it. The Friends crowd. The mothers and the daughters.
Right. Of course.
You gotta see. Gotta think proactively. How is this going to fit into the big picture? How is it going to fit into the bigger picture? As Jack would say, yeah, but I would complain. I would say, yeah, but Woody Allen is doing television material, and you're not putting me up on television. No, I say Woody Allen is doing television. Why aren't you booking me on the Ed Sullivan Show? Because Woody has television material. Woody doesn't curse. Woody doesn't do pot material. Woody does middle class mayonnaise humor. It works. And I didn't have television material, so he just said, join. That's what he said. Look, Larry, join Second City. They're doing the same thing as Pryor and Carlin, but they own the theater, so cops can't get in. But they're doing the same material. Just join Second City. So that's why I did it, and that's how I got into improv.
Hey, Larry,
And the rest is history.
I think I might be able to do the video now. I figured out how to do it.
Oh my goodness! All right.
So let's check it out.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Let's see what happens. Hold your
A lot of
breath.
people
This
come
is the
up to me
first.
and
Okay.
they say, "Are you that guy?" And I'm thinking, "Whoa, that's a great title for a book. 2 words and you're finished." A book is like 9 months. I mean, it's just too much. But they say, write what you know. I wrote it and then I read it. And it turns out that it's not just about that guy, which is a great title. It's about me. Who knew? Not me. So buy the book. Well, I mean, buy the book, don't buy the book. The important thing is to rock on. So, rock on, buy the book, rock on, don't buy the book. You see what I'm saying? Between me and you, if you rock on and buy the book, you're better off.
Love it. That is awesome, man. Were you guys able to hear it?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yes.
It
That was
worked.
great.
We did it. The wonders of
Rock on.
technology, folks.
Rock on.
Mike
Right?
Faber.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you,
Thank
Mike.
you. Thank you.
Well, it has been amazing having you join us again.
Well, fine. Let's do it for the next book, okay?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
I hope we
yeah.
get you on
have
before
to. You
that
have to
again,
write
my
it.
friend.
You have to write another book just so we can have you back on.
Well, okay. Or if you're stuck and one of your guests gets sick, give me a call, okay?
Oh,
Okay.
really?
I'll be here.
Awesome.
I'll be right here.
Dude,
Okay.
we would love that. That would
Okay.
be awesome.
Take it
Look-
easy. Yeah, all right, fine. We're gonna sign off now. Okay.
We're going to sign off now, if that's cool with you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, I gotta go. I got a meeting now.
I got a
So,
meeting.
everyone has a meeting nowadays. It's like, I got a meeting, you got a meeting.
That's the only way I get
Yeah.
out of the house. You got to set up a meeting, or I don't go out of the house.
That
It's
is
crazy over here. The COVID thing ruined everything. Okay,
Mm.
I'll
So, Larry,
see you
how can
guys
people
later.
how can people
Yeah.
find you regularly? Do you have a website? you said?
So there's 2 ways. You can do it as the real LarryHankin.com. That's my website. And that's all my paintings and a lot of my films that I make my own self. And then, so that's the real LarryHankin.com. Or a couple of friends of mine, the 3 Geeks. That's the name of the show, the 3 Geeks podcast.
Oh.
They're opening my own channel. I'm going to have my own channel on Patreon. I don't know if you heard of Patreon.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
We know it
Yeah,
well.
well, I'm going to have the Larry Hankin channel on Patreon. So they're doing it now. That's what we're talking about on the phone. They're in the Midwest somewhere. And I'm
awesome.
here in California. So the Patreon or the real LarryHankin.com. And you can get the book, I think, when it drops.
Mhm.
Get that? Drops.
We'll
when
we'll
it
let
drops,
everybody know once.
We
once
will.
it drops.
so
definitely.
one of those 2 places or Amazon. You always get it on Amazon. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
All right.
Take it easy, guys. Great show. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Larry.
Bye.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye, Larry. Bye. All right. Awesome. That was awesome to see Larry stop
Man,
here.
he's so fun.
He is always a nice guy to do and everything. And we got video to work on our video. This is awesome.
That's a first. That's a
It
first.
is a first for Zoom. Oh, we are in so much trouble now, folks, since I know how
Oh,
to do
no.
that now. Oh, yeah. We'll be dropping videos in all the time now. So,
Yeah.
we're going to be
Look out,
taking this to the next
Look
level.
out. Look out,
Exactly.
copyright lawyers,
Oh, exactly.
license
Watch out.
holders.
Yeah, we got to be careful with that. I know. So, but it's going to be tons of fun to be able to drop certain things in all the time. It'll be kind of cool. So that is our episode for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Mike, anything you want to shout out about, sir?
Do I have something? Well, as always, of course, it's my pleasure. It's been great to talk to Larry again. He's just so fun, and
Of
he's done
course.
so much. We could talk to him for another like 5 days. It feels like. He's great. And look, as I'm just gonna leave it with this, like Larry says, rock on.
Rock on. Awesome. Speaking of rock on, my shout out real quick. I got to see an awesome concert on Friday, dudes. I got to go see Bruce Springsteen. It has been, and this is going to show my age a little bit. It's been over 30 years since I saw Springsteen last, and he has not missed a beat. His band is bigger. The E Street Band is huge, and he's gone through a lot of changes. He's gone through a lot of life experiences, as we all have. But he puts on an amazing show. I've joked about it and said I've seen, a lot of throwback acts lately. And, we've gone and seen Hall and Oates, we've gone to see Elton John, we've gone to see Billy Joel, places, people like that. And Springsteen is getting up there in age. He's in his early 70s now. And he was one of the most amazing shows I have seen probably in at least 10 years. He did almost 3 hours straight. He didn't take breaks between songs. He didn't do, breaks between, his intermission was they took a bow, then they turned on the lights and they kept on going, and they played another 6 songs for their encore. It was just amazing. And it was a great, great show to see. It was crazy expensive to see. I think it's the most I've ever spent on a single show to go see a concert, but it was worth it to go, singing along almost every song, going, enjoying it. And he didn't have an opening band. He started at 7:45. He walked off the stage at almost 10:40. And it was just amazing. When we saw Hall and Oates, they got lucky to play an hour, and, it's the same thing with a lot of those people, and it's a great, great show. Even people half his age don't put on a show like this. And it was just an amazing ton of fun. So if you ever get a chance and, want to go see Bruce Springsteen, please. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it is an event. It is an experience. It was Judy's first time seeing him, and she was even blown away. So it was a kind of a cool time to do it, and brought back my youth. So, and that's hard to do nowadays. So it's pretty cool. But as always, thanks for listening to the Earth Station One podcast. We couldn't do this without you. We want to hear from you. Please write us anytime at feedback@earthstation1.com. And, remember, you can find Earth Station One wherever fine podcasts are found. And now, like we've proven, we have video, and we got Larry on the video today, which is actually a ton of fun.
We have video inside video.
Exactly.
We're like going full Inception now.
Exactly. So we'll have to see if the spinning top is somewhere around here. So it'll be a ton of fun. Check out our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and subscribe, as we always like to say. Please tell your friends about us. And you know what? On behalf of myself, Mr. Mike Gordon, it's always great to be here with you, my friend. And you know what? Larry Hankin, you're a gem. You're fantastic. Thank you for being here with us. And you know what? Thanks for listening. We will see you next time here on Earth Station One. Peace, folks, and we'll see you soon. Ciao. And we're done. Yay.